Revolutionary love to you all. This is Baba, Dr. Brother Samori Kamara, and I'm here with another interview in our Education for Liberation series. Today we have my good brother on with us, Brother Aunkh Aakhu. He is an initiate into the Kemetic spiritual science under Muta Ashby. Brother, how you doing today?
Excellent, brother. Excellent. Happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and looking forward to a great conversation.
No doubt, man. We're going to be talking about business. We're going to be talking about marketing today. Let me just read a little bit about this brother. As I say, he's an initiate into the Kemetic spiritual system under Muta Ashby. As a result of this training, he has looked closely at the concept of alchemy as it relates to Kemetic spirituality and its connection to the current economic system. He has pioneered an African-centered approach to marketing that humanizes capitalism and gives black business people the core power to neutralize racism through better marketing. He teaches that the only power held over us is our inability to become effective marketers. He has created a paradigm that allows us to establish and deliver our value to the world in a compelling way. Aakhu hosted the first marketing program targeting the black community along with Kidi Awadu, aka the Conscious Roster. The program is called Mastering Monetization, and the recordings can be found on libradio.com. libradio.com. Brother Aunkh Aakhu is also a trained guerrilla marketing coach and consultant, specializing in profit-focused guerrilla marketing for black people. Right? He is also the owner of Better Marketing for Us, a company that provides marketing training and consulting for small business owners. Aunkh also was the founder and former president of the Ujamaa Business Association. He has been a featured business writer for the South Florida Times and has been labeled, quote, a local marketing expert by the Miami Herald. In addition, Aunkh has been heralded as South Florida's marketing guru by Chase Bank small business specialist Jacques Jourdan. Aunkh is an innovative trainer and the creator of several marketing training programs: How to Thrive in a Recession, Profit Tsunami, Secrets to Monetization, the Better Marketing Mastery Program. He is also happily married to his wife for 4 years and is a proud father of a homeschooled 3-year-old daughter. He was a part of the South Florida community for almost 20 years and recently relocated to Atlanta. So we got a very powerful brother on with us today. I'm sure we're gonna get some very good information. Brother, are you ready?
I'm ready, brother. Let's do it.
Okay. So this is for my folks who rock with Kamali Academy. We just want to help you get a better idea of how to start your own business, because many of us are asking that question about how we can become more self-sufficient and not have to work for somebody else, so that we can do the very necessary work of educating our children for liberation. So we're going to get right into it. This brother is the person to go to. So number one, if someone wanted to start a business, how should they begin that journey, brother? I know that's a big question. What do you say to that?
Yeah. Well, I would say, number one, don't do what you see other people doing. So we can start there with the basics, right? And there's a reason for that. Let's start with the understanding of what a business actually is. So there's a couple of definitions, but for a working definition right now, let's go with that every business in existence is simply a marketing system, right? It is a system of marketing a particular product, whatever that product is that you may choose to give. Now, why is that important? When I, as a consultant, approach many of our businesses, the first thing I notice is that, one, they're not actively marketing. Two, they do not have a system. So if every business is a marketing system, you're not actively marketing and you don't have a system, then, you may have a hobby or something that you're working on, but it's not yet at the level of becoming a business. So part of the reason for that is that the way we are organized, when we approach business as ex-employees, ex-slaves, if you will, what happens is we take the same psychology into that context unwittingly, and we create for ourselves a kind of a job that we own, which is not the real goal of a business, right? It's supposed to be an instrument of our liberation, and that's what we're attempting to really help it do. So the way we're organized as employees and consumers in the regular context, we have a tendency towards consuming things, buying things, and so on. So when we start a business and start thinking about a business, you say, okay, I need to rent an office space. I need to, buy some computers or some machines or whatever I need to do to make my products. I need to buy the supplies. I need to do this and all that. And so we go in the direction that actually powers a lot of the predatory businesses around business startup. So let me explain what I mean by that. Most businesses that start in America actually fail. That's number one. The failure rate is astronomical. That's number one. In our community, it's even worse than astronomical. But you have to realize that part of the reason why it's astronomical is that there's a huge profit-making industry around your business failure. Say that again. There's a huge profit-making industry around your failure. So the average person, they say, invests about $10,000 into a business. 85% of them fail. So if 85% of people who spend $10,000, if you do the math, they say about 500,000 businesses start every year. That is free money for some people. That's free money for the office supply centers and all these kinds of things. And the minute you register your business, you'll notice in the mail will come all these offers to buy stuff for your business, right? So you have to recognize that it's all-out war and that the context of you starting a business has very little to do with all the stuff they say you have to do, including even I would start with even like the registering and all that kind of stuff. First thing you want to do is prove your idea. In other words, before you start putting a lot of money and stuff, investment and time and energy into something, prove at a very basic level that you can sell, that it can work, that people actually want what you're having. So there's a couple of strategies I would recommend that you can use. So the essence of what you're doing is you're attempting to create an audience of people that want to buy what you're about to sell. That's number one. So in other words, if you, brother, walked into a desert right now, in the middle of the desert, and you set up a cooler and you have a bunch of water, ice cold and all that, in 120 degrees in the middle of the Sahara, and you're the only person there selling water and thousands of people are walking by, will you have a marketing problem? Will you have a business problem? Right? You probably won't have
you shouldn't. You shouldn't, but some of these Negroes will say, well, actually, I wanted my water to be room temperature.
Yes. Well, if they at that point, the people, what tends to happen in the desert is the environment itself will create a certain stressor on you where you're not as discriminating, to use that term, as you would normally be. So in other words, a lot of the times the conditions that cause people to haggle with you are related to the fact that there is not enough of a context that creates a valuing of what you want. What I'll say is the people who are haggling with you in that water stand, they're probably not going to get any water because you're going to be so busy dealing with the folks who are just desperate and want some water right now that you could charge them $50 for a bottle and they say, I'll take it because I'm in the desert.
That's it.
I'm going to faint right now. So that's where your market is focused. So you want to build a market first. So market first. Garvey taught us race first. So in business, it's customer first. A business is a business because they are customers. No other reason. Nothing else matters.
That's it.
Get the customers. Then once you know that you have a stream of customers, then you can actually begin all the work of the registering and all the other things that cost a little money that you know you have to play the game if you want to play the legal game and make sure everything's right. So when you start making this change, you know what I mean, Uncle Sam doesn't come down on you so like he, likes to call himself our uncle, which is really interesting.
That's it. To get started on a journey, make that first sale first.
Right, exactly. Prove your idea. Start with a market. If it helps you, if you want to go simply, just there's something we call doing peak interest marketing, where you just go around just the people you know, and you say to them, "Hey, I'm thinking of this idea. Do you think this is something that you would want? If I come next week and I have blue shoes, I'm thinking of opening a blue shoe store. What is that something that?" And you can literally track who is interested and build a base of customers based on that. The key is to really build the base, meaning that your market in today's world is not the people outside of your reach, right? Your market is only the people within your email database, maybe social media profile. That's all that your market is. The phone, text, mobile, just the people that you can actually reach determines your market. Everything else is just too costly to depend on.
No, I can dig it, man. That's right. That's right. So if a person already has a business, what kind of marketing tips do you have for them?
Okay. So this is really interesting. So this is fun, right? So one of the things that happens is there's a fundamental type of mistake that I see us make very often in business, and which is, well, let me put it this way. Business is largely, to be successful, counterintuitive, which means that the thing that seems like the logical thing to do, often in business, is the thing that causes you to fail. In other words, 85% of people fail in business. When you approach any of them at the start of that business, none of them expect to fail.
Right.
So in other words, something about our makeup, whether we expect it or not, it leads us to failure without us realizing. So it's a counterintuitive process. So what I would say is then, once you understand that, then you have to kind of contextualize things a little differently. So again, Garvey gave us the race first idea. So I like that concept of first. So in business, what I say is value first. So typically, if you're selling, what most people will do is they'll just try to sell first. In today's world, given the context that we're in, the hyper-competitive nature, there are 30 million businesses. They're all putting out marketing messages. They're trying to get people's attention. If you go to market directly selling, you won't work. And in our indigenous context, we say that what's more important than whether you make money or not is that you establish a relationship. So at the end of the day, we are here to improve the quality of lives of the people around us. And some of them will give us money in exchange for that. Some, it doesn't matter. They won't. Maybe they can or they can't afford it, but they still, we can still add value to as many people's lives as we can in the ways that we can with what we have. And the key is to build a reciprocal relationship with those people that we can add value to, that know and can support us, and then build our success in business around that. All right? So first thing is value first, right? And that means then you are able to essentially prove in advance that you can do or sell whatever it is that you're trying to sell or whatever the service that you're trying to provide, right? Before they even get to buying. So in some cases that may be education-based, right? So that may be, informing them about what it is that and why it's such a solution to the problem that they may be facing, right? Every product or service today should be connected to solving a problem. That's another thing. So it's very easy to find your target market. You know the problem, if people have that problem. So value first. Second, we just kind of mentioned it. Make sure that you're building a base. It has to become almost a religion for us that wherever we go, when we're interacting with people, we are in the business of identifying those who are interested in continuing the relationship with us. And so we're exchanging contact information with them, right? And that could be by doing, free giveaways, talks, and other kinds of things. There's tons of things you can do to actually give people incentive to connect with you, right? Because we tend to value people who add value to our lives. And then we're willing to now say, okay, it's kind of like, dating, right? If you go and you ask for the contact information, can I call you sometime? You make a smile, make a whatever, and then you say, okay, can we talk? Can we, and after that, if it progresses, you go a little further and a little further and a little further. So business is taking those kinds of steps. So you want to build a database. That's your market today. So you got the value first, you got the database. Next thing you want to do is you want to create irresistible offers. Too many times, a lot of what our people are offering to the world is, quite frankly, a resistible offer. Meaning, okay, I'm just selling this thing for this price and that's it. There's no incentive if you want to buy it. You take it or leave it. Yeah. This is what it is, right? So there's nothing there. There's no bonuses. There's no that idea of value. How much value am I getting for the price? There's nothing there that gives it a context to get into it. What should happen when you have a service or product is when you explain the offer that you're making, it should make the audience that you're talking to go, wow. That's a great deal.
That's right.
Test it first. Make sure you're creating an irresistible offer, right? Another thing you can do if you really want to get into it and you can get deeper and deeper into this is that you can deal with objections in advance, right? Which means that now we're getting into psychology. If you understand the mindset of your customers, you can actually in advance, if you're good and your ego's not connected, you could say, well, what are some of the questions that people have about this right here? How do I know it's going to work for me? How long has it been in existence? Right? If you have a comfortable, I've seen people in business, sometimes they get annoyed when people ask them a question because they just want them to buy. But it's very natural for people to want to be, to understand and know, because what buying is based on trust. And that is so critical for us as a people because we have a unique opportunity as business people to rebuild the trust in our community. If we rebuild the trust in the community that our people have for us, the game is over. Right? So even though we're talking about marketing, we're actually talking about human psychology and human relationships, which is what
just relationships and valuing each other.
Valuing each other. And our cultures were always centered around having an extreme appreciation for who each other was because we realized that each person was invaluable. You came here with gifts and talented. Of course you're a genius. You're one of us. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we want to appreciate that because that's how you reach your full potential. So we have to get back. And business people, we have a unique opportunity, especially since most of the places our people give money right now cannot see that, do not look at them in that way. We have a unique opportunity to build a higher level relationship. If we can do that, there's $1 trillion on the table waiting for us, just in our community.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Like those are very practical steps for our people to add value.
There's more.
To develop a database, right? Irresistible offer. And I'm sure you got more.
Of course. I mean, we're just warming up. Right. So what you want to do is you want to focus on the first customer experience, right? You want to create an extraordinary, at least the first time somebody interacts with you as a customer. You want that experience to be extraordinary. You want to add a wow factor with that. So whether that's a bonus, whether it's something that you're doing that makes that extraordinary. Why is that important? Because business is not built on getting customers. Did you hear me? It's not
I'm listening.
Okay. So if business is not built on getting customers, what is it built on? It's built on keeping customers.
Mm-hmm.
I can show you tons of businesses. If your business is forever in the orientation of getting customers alone, it will not be sustained. The reason for that is that the most expensive part of your marketing is getting a customer. It's the hardest thing to do. There was a research done in 2014 where they interviewed top marketing executives these are marketing professionals, and they asked them, 500 of them, what's the hardest thing to do in marketing? And 75% of them agreed that the hardest thing to do in marketing was get a customer. These are marketing professionals. These are people who do it. We do this for a living. Right. When people come to me and say, no, it's not that hard. Making money is not that hard and all that. I'm like, okay, I could I'll tell you all the professionals I know who do this, and I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not cheap. It takes time. It takes creativity. It takes a lot of things. So as a business person, you want that to be about getting a customer to be about 20% of your marketing, keeping the customer to be about 80%. That's what they teach us in Guerilla Marketing.
Cool. Okay.
And like 5. So we just did so the next things is in marketing, after you got the customer, have a referral system, a referral marketing system. Now, most small businesses grow through referrals, right? But you'd be amazed how many of them don't actually have a referral system. Don't even bother to.
So it's like word of mouth, right?
Right. And yes, exactly. So we can go into the science of that. But what I'm saying is if that's how most businesses build is through referrals, then it's incumbent upon you to actually systemize at least that aspect of what you're doing. Meaning, even if it's as simple as just asking everybody that comes in and becomes a customer, particularly customers, because if they're a satisfied customer, they're your greatest marketing tool, right? Because they're not selling anything. You are, I can't believe you because you're selling me the book. You're telling me it's a great thing and it's great, this homeschool education, you're the guy to go to. You're telling me that. But when somebody else who has completed the program and said, wow, I learned from Brother Samori, and I'm telling you, he was on point and all that, that's just an honest testimonial from their thing. That is far more valuable and believable coming out of your mouth, right? So this is why that's very important. So at least develop a referral marketing system. At the very least, ask your customers for referral. Now, there's a specific system that I'm actually developing that I'll bring to the community at a different time for us that I think will augment a lot of what we're doing. Because if you can't do anything else, I say work the referral marketing angle. Even if you can't, do all the internet stuff and all the other stuff, you're just not there. There's ways that you can still work. The way we try to teach our people to market is whatever means you have, whatever resources and skills you have, let's create a system that can work for you from where you are, right? And so that's what. And then the last one I'll give, the seventh tip I'll give is actually the sixth tip I'll give is utilizing a campaign format, right? Now, there's a difference between promotional activity, right, trying to promote something, and executing a marketing campaign. The major difference is in a marketing campaign, I can actually look at metrics and tell what exactly happened. So if I put out 5,000 flyers, at the end of a campaign, I can say we got 10 customers from the 5,000 flyers. The 5,000 flyers cost us $200 to design and print. Each customer is worth $10 to us. So that means that 10 customers I'm saying each customer is worth $50 to us. So we made $500. It cost us $200. You subtract that, we made a $300 net profit, if you will, or gross profit, right? So that is, if you're not doing that level of assessing of what's happening in your marketing, you probably really don't know what's happening. And so you can have a myriad of problems going on that are relatively easy to solve, except you cannot really identify what they are. Right? So we say utilize a campaign format. If I have a document that I can give that gives you some insight into a campaign format if you need it.
Where can we get that from?
I'll have to dig it up for you. All right? So I'll dig it up by the end of the day.
No doubt.
Here somewhere. But it just basically outlines the 12 steps that you need to take. So we're talking about basic market research, just irresistible offer, establishing your offer, selecting your marketing tools. We say that in Guerilla Marketing you should use at least 15 or 20 marketing tools, at least, right? Because if you're going to be in the market, if you think of it as if we're out in the world and there's competition, everybody's throwing blows at us, you don't want to just throw one heavy blow, you want to throw combinations. So your marketing tools are like the combinations you're throwing. And that gives you far more potential to actually, knock them out, if you will, in marketing, right? Okay. And the last thing we say is really simple. It's just marketing consistency. We say that every business is a marketing system. Anytime you stop marketing, you're literally stopping the business. Right? So you should have at least execute 4 major campaigns a year, at least. Now, in the way I work with the coaching clients I work with, of course, we do an accelerated rate because they're working with me, and we try to do as much as a campaign a month, right? Why is that? Because, one, I'm actually training people on how to do it as we do it. So it's not just like coaching, but it's also forcing you to develop the habit of knowing how to execute your marketing consistently. If we can get in that business often enough, we'll notice that we'll succeed much faster. Half the time we're not succeeding because we're just not marketing. Period. We It's like, if you don't put a horse in the race, what are the chances of you winning?
Zero.
Exactly. Right. So yeah. So those are the quick 7 steps. And if you already have a business, let me add, even though I didn't add this, and as a marketing consultant, typically when I approach companies, there's a way we approach it. So even though I give you that advice, additionally, what you should consider is that you may be in a situation where, if you've already started a business, where you're sitting on a lot more money than you're aware of based on what I just said. Meaning, if you're somebody who's been focused just on getting customers, it would actually be better for you to develop a marketing campaign now that focuses on all those people, because they would be easier to reach. You probably have their numbers, their emails, their whatever, right? And it'd be easier to re-engage them. And because people who have given you money are 10 times more likely to give you money again than somebody who's never given you money before.
That's true. Yeah.
Very important to understand that, because you've already crossed the threshold of trust. So there's a level where they're like, okay, they know what they expect from you, right? So, so when we go in and we were optimizing a business, what we tell them to say to a business that's already started is, make sure that you are optimizing what you already have before you really venture out into building new campaigns and so on and so forth. Focus in on how do you optimize the people that you already have. And so that's just another tip that I find that's a quick way to turn around a business. Like it'll turn it around in weeks. One campaign can do that.
Okay, brother. You're dropping some jewels. Hopefully the folks are picking it up. I'm definitely taking my notes over here and need to get in that class, man. I need to get in that class ASAP. All right. So there, but for us, our mental game about business, I think, is warped in many ways. Particularly when we talk about the so-called conscious community, people feel like making money off of our products or services is like being a capitalist or being a European. So what do you say about some of the things in our own African culture and history that connects with business?
Okay, so one of the things, and I feel that sometimes it's a kind of discredit to our history when we don't mention that empires are not built on a budget, right? So broke people don't build empires. I've studied history pretty extensively, and I know, but I've never heard any of our great historians from John Henry Clark on down say that you can build an empire broke, right? So we recalibrate the relationship we've had to business. It was recently said that the wealthiest man in history was Mansa Musa, right? The king of Mali, and he expanded that empire. Even though he was born a king, he actually expanded that empire, and it was bigger than the size of the United States, just his empire. And his wealth tops every person since. And I'm sure they weren't actually keeping track before that. So I say we probably had wealthier people and wealthier empires. They're just not in the business of keeping track of it. But we'll take it since they want to give us number one. So ahead, we'll go for it. So what I'm saying is that we have actually had a very long history of business and successful business administration, particular to running empires, right? In his book, Africans Were the First Americans, David Imhotep actually pushes the timeline back at least 12,000 years and says that African people were actually traveling and building communities in America as well in Africa and doing trade between these communities. I'm talking major trade. So, for instance, he talks about in the island of Bimini in the Bahamas, there's what they call a breakwater, a pier that is over a mile long, right? That is about 200 feet under the water. You can actually, because the water is so clear, you can actually go there and actually see this now. In order for that to be there, they're saying for it to be at that depth of water, it had to have existed at least 12,000 years ago. Now, a pier that big can only be holding huge ships, right? If you're just coming over in a raft, You don't need a mile long break here. You just don't need that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we're just begin to re-look at and say, wait a second, what people like Claude Anderson was telling us. Claude Anderson said something very profound, and I think most people have missed it. He said that slavery was nothing more than a wealth redistribution scheme.
Mm.
In other words, the main issue is the theft, not just of culture and all that, but the theft of wealth and power. So us being placed in a certain state actually gave certain people power, and particularly that related to economic power. And what we have failed to do is connect and understand the connection between culture, power, and wealth. And because we don't do that, then we make some of these assumptions about, money being bad and all that kind of stuff. And I say, money, marketing, these things are like let's say it's like a mango, right? If you have a beautiful red juicy mango and you cut it open and you eat it, it's nourishing for the body. But if you take that same big mango and you knock somebody upside the head with it, for 10 years, they may not like mangoes, and they may think that mangoes are evil, right? And it's
yeah.
They have a different orientation of mango, but it's not really the mangoes who's using the mango how. And I'm saying the principle of monetization, or the art of making money in this context, is something that there's an historical antecedent for us to recognize it and to realize that part of our assuming liberation again will be when we master the economics of this paradigm and we transcend, right? And that's what I'm the work about. This is when we talk about, guerrilla marketing for our businesses and so on. This is more about transforming our environment so we have a higher appreciation of the tools of the recreation of wealth, power, and culture. All right? That's what we're about.
So how is that going to help us in our quest for liberation?
This is what you read it, right? So I feel like the only power that's held over us right now is the inability to be effective marketers, meaning that the people that we're up against, the people or powers or whatever you want to call that, are simply doing a better job of selling their agenda to our people, right? When we talk about liberation, at the end of the day, if we do not we not stimulate and inspire in our people a desire for that so that they actually buy into the concepts of it, nothing happens. Right? Yeah. So we have to first, buy into the concepts enough, appreciate what and who we are as so-called conscious people enough, right, to actually produce outstanding products, services, and outstanding marketing in the world once again. It's what our people did. It's how we expanded empires. Trade is a natural part of our makeup. Every African empire, you can show that. Everyone. There's none of them where you don't see that. Right? It's Africa we're talking about, the wealthiest continent on the planet. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real, man. So,
go ahead. So I'm saying it's critical.
What do you think? Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that put us in the situation, as you're saying, is that these people have the ability to feed us. If one is feeding you, you're not going to, as they say, bite the hand that feeds you. There's only so much that you're going to do. You might agree with everything that I'm saying, but you might, at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, actually, and all through the goddamn day, I got to go work for these folks. So until you are able to give me a job or to make sure that I am, able to make some money, then whatever you're talking about is null and void.
You're so right. The monetary system here is the seat of mind control, right? So what do I mean by that? Here we go. And these kinds of people talking this stuff. If you've ever tried to make somebody do something they don't want to do, it could be a child, right? You'll notice that it's difficult, right?
Right.
It's just difficult. Even if you want the child, you want them to do something, they don't want to do it. It's war, right? Now, here's what's interesting about a monetary system, right? Do you know that most people say there was a study a few years ago that said that 98% of the people on their jobs do not like their jobs, meaning they don't want to do it. Now, they don't want to do this job, but they get up every day.
That's right.
Every day, 5 days a week for 30, 40. What kind of mind control is it that you have power? If you can make somebody do something they don't want to do for 40 years. Even in your heart is saying, this is not what I'm here to do. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be great in the world. But all of a sudden, here comes Mr. Bills. Hey, this is reality time. Drop that focus. Kick that dream to the side. Kick that to the curb. You know what you need to be doing right now. You need to be getting this job, holding it down, and this is how you do it. All right? You do it my way or the highway. Right? So
basically,
that's the context that we're in. So we have to recognize that the choices that you make, when you make a choice to work and to try to build a business, that's a extremely revolutionary step. Because you're saying, I don't want to just follow the normal programming that gets. The normal program most of us come up with is get yourself one of them good jobs. Boy,
right.
Yourself a good job, you got it. You know what I mean? You work for 40, 50 years, you get the retirement check, you're good. Life is good, right? That's our hopes and dreams, right? If we're lucky, we hope to be, a doctor or a lawyer, like a really good job, right?
Yeah.
But I trust, we were not placed here for that, and we have to learn that over time and unlearn that and get ourselves into a place. Unless that's your natural passion. If it's your natural passion, if you absolutely love your job and every day you wake up excited and you would do it if they paid you or didn't pay you, then that might be your purpose, right? Then we can say at that point that's probably your purpose. But most people are not. All the jobs I work, brother, let me tell you right now, that never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Right, absolutely.
One day,
and I don't
being there.
Yeah, and I can't see myself going back to working, for anyone else, man. I just, as a teacher at a university, as a professor, maybe, but even in that situation, I would have to have a lot of autonomy, a lot of freedom to do what I want to do and in the way I want to do it because,
and
I don't need their money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to be here to do this.
Yeah, Boyce Walker calls it FU money, right? To be able to
right.
money on the side that if these people start acting up, you know what I mean? You could just be like, hey,
Look,
I'm not saying that we can't, at least when you're operating from a liberation mindset, I'm not saying you can't leverage the job. I'm just saying you shouldn't be a slave to it. There's a slight difference, You can leverage anything. When you're at war, John Henry Clark told us everything around you becomes what? A tool or a weapon. Right?
That's right.
Use it. If you got it and you need to use it to get to where you need to go ahead. Let's do it. But let's get free.
Yep, that's it, man. I'm so glad that I've met you over the last couple of years at the Liberated Minds Homeschool Collective, man, and listen to you, talk about this thing. Because if you would ask me 4 years ago about, money and servicing folks and all that kind of stuff, I would have said, man, Kamali Academy is my school. I come here every day. I service the folks that are here. Everything else, man, I ain't really making too much money, but I'm doing what I love. This is my passion. This is my purpose. Everything is going to fall into place. And of course, was definitely struggling a great deal. But some of the messages that you are saying now is some of those messages I got 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And of course, meeting you as well has taken my business acumen and my understanding of this thing to a different level. And that's one of the reasons, I'm in the position that I am in right now. So thank you. Hopefully the folks are getting something out of this, So one last question before we go, brother. What's one thing our people need to understand about themselves to really create the wealth and sovereignty?
Okay. So, you might want to fasten your seatbelt for this one, because this is where I get.
Okay, all right.
So this is where I get a little deep, and so this is a personal speculation, if you will, right? But if you can follow the train of thought, it gets a little metaphysical, but if you follow the train of thought, you can see this. So let's start with what I just said about Claude Anderson teaching us that slavery was nothing more than a wealth redistribution scheme, right? It was that even though it had blood and killing and all that kind of stuff, that wasn't the point. The point was we got to become the wealth and the power on the planet, right? By any means necessary was what they said. Now, I remember hearing that, and then I was listening to Amos Wilson, and he said something very profound. He said that wealth is actually a function or is created within the human mind, meaning that even if you are on some land that doesn't have resources, Japan, etc.
Right.
If you have a good mind, you could steal other people's resources.
Right.
Way, but and of course it's the story of what has happened, right? Because there's no logical reason why the richest continent on the planet should house the poorest people. There's just no logic to that at all until you understand kind of what has happened to us. And here, and so I'm saying what has happened to us has all been centered around the concept of wealth and power, right? They are synonymous. They're one and the same. And therefore, when I began to follow the trail, here's what I began to speculate. That the true source of all wealth on the planet Earth is the African mind. I'll say it again.
Teach.
The true source of all wealth on the planet is the African mind. What do I mean by that? We were brought to this nation to generate wealth. That position has not changed. We still generate wealth for these people. We did it through slavery, now through consumerism. We have $1 trillion, we give it back to them every year. That's what we do, right? So we're creating wealth for other people. We are fantastic at creating wealth for other people. So it is our bodies, our minds, our energy that is being used to create the wealth that's sustaining this current empire that we're in. But the thing about it is, when you check stock, what you realize is that is true of every culture that has rose to power. It has rose to power on the strength of our psychology, our worldview, our mind, and our culture. Greece, Rome, China, the Americas, all over. Any time that they have emerged into prominence on the world stage, they were standing on our shoulders, or in some cases, in most cases, our necks. Right?
Yeah.
And so what we haven't realized, like the race, the human race is about the control of the African mind, if you ask me. Racism is about the control and manipulation of the African mind. Our quest in terms of liberation is to reclaim the African mind. But when you reclaim the African mind, you actually reclaim the source of creativity. We know we're creative people. We look at the music, we look at whatever. Any space that you give us room to be creative, we take it to the next level. You put us on the basketball court, they just say, okay, we'll give you entertainment. We'll give you comedy. We'll give you, right? We take it to levels it's never been before. That's our very nature, is the point I'm making. We are actually the source of all the wealth on the everything that we're seeing that they describe as wealth that has value only has value because of how it has been connected to some aspect of who we are over time and space. That's it. Right? So when they say gold has value, it has to do with how we used to use gold. Look at how we used to rock gold and gold. You understand what I'm saying? It's a stone, right? So what makes it valuable? What makes it useful? These are the things that are coming out of. So all of this comes out of a conceptualization of that connects us with the universe in a very intimate way, right? And we could go much more metaphysical with it, and I won't. But I'll leave it there. That what we have to understand is we're it. We're the thing that we're waiting for. We don't even need money to do it. We just need our own minds. And with our own minds, we can free ourselves. We can change the world.
Ooh, that's deep right there. Did y'all hear that? Right? That's a beautiful thing, man. And that's the kind of mental understanding, the mental game that we have to have in order to regain that wealth and that sovereignty, and just regain our African sanity.
Absolutely.
Man, that's a beautiful thing there, man. I'm so glad to be talking to you, man, and to have you on. Just give us a brief recap, for the folks, man, and also tell the folks where they can, contact you, get in touch with you, and see what you have to offer.
All right, excellent. Brief recap. Yeah, okay. So anyway, the essence is if you starting a business, build your market first. If you got a business, value first. Make sure you're giving value before you sell, etc. As far as our historical connection, we have a long tradition of producing wealth, of being the creators on the planet, being the producers on the planet. We have a long history of that. And then my final conclusion is that the source of all wealth on the planet Earth is the African mind. We are really our being. And by the African mind, I'm talking every melanocyte, every aspect of us, particularly that thing that makes us black, that they all hate. That is really a mind, is a brain in itself, right? That's why we can think with our whole being, not just the thing in our head. So when we say the African mind, we're talking about our entire being, physically and spiritually, and otherwise, right? So that's the recap. I'm at bettermarketingmastery.com. We do free trainings. We do a lot of good stuff. And when we find important information, critical information to the African community about building business and all those kinds of things, we shoot those right over to you, usually at no cost. And then our trainings, and people can get in on our trainings. I'm also on the radio every Thursday at LIB Radio. We drop some of this mastering monetizations. We take it to another level every week. So all those are ways that you can reach me. Of course, you can reach me at the office at 302-536-9642. That's 302-536-9642. Give me a call. If you're interested, I'll send you out one of our free mastering monetization training to get you started. You get a nice foundation of where you need to go, and we'll take it from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Brother Aunkh Aakhu, beautiful time speaking with you, man, and I'm sure that is very valuable, for our folks. It has been valuable to me over the last couple of years. We are on the road to reclaiming our African wealth and sovereignty in this country and the world over. We'll definitely have you on, again, a part 2, part 3, part 4, all those kind of things as well, man. So, again, thank you so much, Madase, to you and the wisdom that you bring to the table.
And Madase, to you as well. I actually, before we even met, I stumbled across you online, and you and the other brothers, because I'm always looking for good people putting out some good content, and I was elated when I saw you guys doing what you were doing. It was very powerful and important, and I had bought your book by the time I met you and everything. So the work that you're doing in terms of our education and bringing forward how we can yank our children from the hands of people that would destroy them is critical. And every time I sit in front of you and I learn, I also gain some deeper insight and wisdom into this whole process. So I too, I'm truly appreciative of the genius that you bring to the world, brother.
Oh, Ashe, brother, Ashe, Yanase. And so, until the next time, I say revolutionary love to you, brother.
Revolutionary love.